This was actually, there we go. This was actually the number one requested topic on our recent small business survey. So you all asked for this, and we are really delivering here tonight. If you want to go to the next slide, Kelsey. So we're really excited to introduce some industry experts and also hear from some of our own small businesses at the VFM. But first, again, for those who are just joining, I'm Stephanie Clark. I'm the Director of Partnerships and Programs at the Farmers Market. Jordan and Kelsey are also on the VFM team. Do y'all want to introduce yourself really quick?
Hi everyone, I'm Kelsey. I'm the Director of Operations for the Farmers Market. Really excited to see you all tonight.
Thanks, Kelsey and Stephanie. Yeah, I'm Jordan Bolt. I think I probably know most of you, but I'm the executive director here at the market as well. And we really appreciate you taking some time out of a nice evening to join us.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And let's just dive right in. So we have four speakers tonight. We're going to go over website and digital marketing strategy with Jake Hendrix from Riff. We have email newsletters and subscription models, hearing from Nathan at Good Wolf Probiotic Sodas. And social media strategy from Kayla Anderson with Riparian Media, and then sharing your story on social media with our very own Tammy with Tammy's Cookies. So, really excited for this lineup and just covering all the bases of how to promote yourself online. Again, a packed agenda. So, we're going to ask that y'all put your questions in the chat box. And after each presenter, we'll probably have time for one, maybe two questions each. So go ahead, put your questions in the chat box, and we will get to them. And yeah, we're just going to dive right in. So I'm really excited to introduce Jake Hendricks with Riff to talk about website and digital marketing strategy. And Jake, go ahead, and I think you have some slides, so feel free to share your screen.
Great. Let's see here. Slideshow. Great. You all see my screen? Good. Very good. Okay.
Looking good.
Awesome. Yeah. So Jake Hendricks, Riff Creative. We're a local agency that focuses on building brands, websites, web applications, apps, all sorts of things for the digital world. And we born and raised in Vancouver. We love Vancouver. So super grateful for the opportunity to walk through some simple stuff here this evening. Hopefully it's helpful and we can go through quick, catch some more sunshine. I tried to keep it really kind of simple, high level of just like why a website and digital marketing. What are some of those just simple things that you can do right out the gate where you're at right now? I think having worked with a lot of brands and a lot of companies, I would say more often than not, we just make it too complex. And so this is about keeping it simple. So why digital presence matters, even at the farmers market. We know farmers market is that like amazing in-person engagement, but digital presence is super important. So, one way to think about it, just at a really uh, high level, is just your website, your digital presence are like your booth, never closes. It's how people find you, learn about you, and ultimately decide to trust you. Um, keep going here. So yeah, just kind of continue on with this big why. So selling online isn't about being fancy. It's about being findable, trustworthy, and clear. And if we can get those things down, that is like more than half the battle. It's just having an online presence. So findable, trustworthy, and clear. Um, it's like your business card online. Customers check online before deciding to visit or buy. If you're not there, someone else is there. Someone else is online trying to sell something, most likely probably similar. So it's just where everybody lives. Everybody checks online first. So, and then another really just simple thing is digital tools help you grow beyond your tent while still staying true to your roots. It's this thing that stays open all the time. It's the best employee you can hire because it never sleeps and it's always doing the thing, if you program it right, doing the thing you want it to do. So really simple, just it's your online presence, just like a tent. Core building blocks. Um, Simple, useful. It doesn't have to be complex. That's kind of the thing I'll continue to hit on. Think of it just as your digital stand. Um, Key things to include: what you sell, why it's special, when, where, and how to buy it, contact info or order button. I think again, it's just so easy to get lost in the complexity and say, I've got to do all these different things. But the technology we have right now just makes it so, so easy. The other thing I tell every other business owner that I meet, if you don't have the free version of ChatGPT, you know, I would say it's the best investment, like $20 can buy. It's your digital assistant. It will help you walk through so much, especially when you're starting out. We focus on startups going from 0 to 1. And I think when you're looking at something like this, like jump into AI right now, super easy to use, super helpful. So I would start with just a simple one pager if you don't have one, built with Squarespace or a Shopify starter. I wouldn't say come and hire a big agency to do it. Look what you can kind of do yourself. And if you get stuck, then you can kind of reach out and find some help. So website, that's what I'd say, just very simple. Two, when it comes to social media, just be where your people are. Like, are your people on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Pick one that you'll actually use. I know even just as someone who runs an agency, it's so hard to even post for your own business. It's just the last thing we end up doing. So pick something that you use. Pick something that you're always on, that you like being on, and utilize that. And think of posts as showing up to say, here's what I've got this week. Here's what's going on. Again, it doesn't have to be super complex. It's just being yourself. Stories, reels, behind the scenes, it just builds trust. The more the people can kind of see you, see your face, see your product, ultimately it's building this sense of trust. When to consider paid marketing. Always just start free. Focus on content and clarity first. Just your story and get in the rhythm of posting, creating ads. Pay when you're ready to drive traffic to something specific. You have like a seasonal drop, a special product, an online store, and then be very specific. If you've tested your product message in person and it converts, that's a decent time. You know it's going to hit people. I would say boost posts sparingly or run small geo-targeted ads. So once you kind of know that target audience and what they're looking for, and you can target them, that's when I would say starting to look for that paid marketing in whatever you use. Um, Almost lastly, I would just say mindset shift. Think like a brand. You are a brand. That's how people experience you. You have a brand, your stories, your values, your product, your face at the market, all of that makes up a brand. Brands are not just logos. People think that just like, oh, it's the Nike logo. That's their brand. No, a brand ultimately is how a company makes someone feel. It's that messaging, it's the marketing, it's the whole thing. And for us, I would always say it's really story driven. I think in crowded markets and crazy digital spaces, just being yourself is the best thing you can be. Um, Good online marketing just makes that story visible when you're not physically there. So it's just this thing that's going to work for you. It's you, everything that you is represented by your company, but it's always there working for you. Um, you don't have to be big, just consistent and human is what I'd say. It's just there's so much that's plasticky and ridiculous. Authenticity goes a long way, and people want to support people. Um, and the more you share yourself, share your story, share what you're doing, I think people enjoy that. So don't overthink, just be findable and be yourself. I thought it'd be cool to finish this. This is one of our companies that we've worked with in Vancouver for a long time, Slumberkins. And they're not at the farmers market right now. And I don't know if they were ever in an actual farmers market. They may have been. But they were at a lot of craft fairs early on, probably like 7 years ago. And this is a little Instagram post on the left of one of the co-founders, Kaylee Christensen, saying, "Craft fair, come visit us in the den of the show." I think she even said it wrong. "Come visit us is the den of the show in the wrestling room." So, sewing little animals, just her and her co-founder, going to craft shows, craft fairs in the wrestling room at local high schools, Um, and then you fast forward now, they've produced a show with Jim Henson, who does the Muppets, and the show's on Apple TV Plus, and you can stream it, and just wildly successful. And this is a Vancouver brand that just started in a market, and we've helped them grow in a variety of different ways. But when it comes down to it, it was two founders just sharing their story, willing to put in the work, and built on those like authentic blocks. And they've now built a national, you could even say a global brand off what they're doing. So um, yeah, those are kind of the thoughts that come to mind when you're starting to think through a website and digital marketing. And yeah, that's what I have.
All right, thank you. We do have some time for questions. I can kick it off, since I
Great.
don't see anything in the chat. I'm curious, what tools do you think would be helpful for our businesses who might not have a website yet, and maybe like some free or low cost tools?
Hmm.
And then I'd also love for you to kind of touch a little bit more on like when do you know if you need to pay for digital ads?
Hmm. Yeah, that's great questions. I referenced it in there. ChatGPT has a free level. You know, I would just immediately use that. People think AI is kind of, do they just stay away? But it's going to be it's just like the perfect assistant. So I would say use that. Squarespace in terms of building sites, you know, is very, very simple. And again, if you're looking just to stand something up, if you have a logo, you almost can just do it yourself. So those two, that's what I would look at. And then, you know, YouTube is your best friend as well. Um, Paid, yeah, it's interesting. I'd love to hear, you know, I know Nathan's talking next and a couple other people, but it's easy to waste. I think they're speaking of summer kids, like that would have been like 2000, let's see, 10, no, maybe more like 8 or 9. It used to be like $1 in, $1 out. Like, hey, if I spend $1, this is what I can get back. It just doesn't work that way anymore. You know, the algorithm feeds what it wants to feed. And so I would say you have to be doing a decent volume of business before I would really start pumping into paid, you know. Um, so yeah, I would say wait until you are moving a decent amount of product, and then again focus on something specific. You're like, hey, I have this special drop, I have this new product, I have this new line. I want to push people to my store, and I know who my customer is, my target audience, and you know if you can kind of geocache that, that's great. Couple
There,
questions.
yeah, a couple questions in the chat. One related to Squarespace. Jacob was saying that if you have questions about Squarespace, a good place to go is their website. Is there anywhere else you would recommend, Jake, on finding info on Squarespace or, you know, building a website through that platform?
I mean, they're going to be great. You know, their YouTube channels are really great. You know, a local agency can definitely help. You know, I think before you hire an agency to build your website, even just get some consulting. I think that's a great way to do it. Or a freelancer that you know, like pay for a couple hours with somebody and have them kind of walk through some best practices. There's a lot of great freelancers in Vancouver, and it's stuff that we do. So I would chase down, you know, that if you're really getting stuck. Um, and Shopify is the same way. You know, if you're doing a little bit more, Shopify is pretty easy to use.
Hmm. And then Erica asked, how important do you think it is to have a Shopify site versus Squarespace if you want to try to increase online sales?
Um, yeah, I think Shopify is a better platform for selling. I think it's just kind of industry standard for people that are launching businesses. So I'd definitely go that way. Um, yeah, if you're wanting to really start cooking.
And then Sam asks, is there any important first steps that you should take to optimize Google search rankings? How can I best show up on Google?
Yeah, those are good questions. The SEO, again, it's kind of how much do you want to tutor yourself on SEO? There are some simple things you can do, online tutorials that kind of show you keywords and different things that way. That's another good thing I think to outsource, is just if you have a website, do some website, SEO optimization with a consultant and have them do it just by an hourly rate. But yeah, that's what I'd say to do.
And I think we had one from Zach up above. Any tips on developing an existing YouTube channel and getting it to the point of monetization?
You have to have, if you're saying monetizing a YouTube channel, you have to have an insane amount of views. So I think brand building, it's phenomenal. Telling your story, it's your own platform. So I think it's great. Obviously, podcasts are huge. Um, but to monetize a YouTube, content would be pretty tricky without millions and millions of views. All these questions. What point does it start making sense to engage a branding design agency like Riff? Yeah, that's a good question. We like to think of ourselves as like team augmentation. If you don't have anyone helping, I would say, you know, it's that fine line of managing your growth when you really need, three other people doing things. You have operations, all the different stuff. And I'm not as familiar with everything that goes into running a, booth and selling at a farmer's market, but um, we can act like a team, and I think that's really helpful. If it's helping like create content and do organic. Um, so yeah, I think I would hold off as long as I could until you just can't do everything by yourself any longer, and then I would reach out. Uh, But yeah, I would wait. It's amazing what you can do with the tools out there right now. So
Well, and I think one more question. Do you recommend a specific percentage of sales to allocate for marketing and advertising as a small business?
that's a great question. Um, I think it's up to you, and I would say try before you just go all in and allocate like a certain percentage. Because you could say, well, I'm going to start dumping, 10% of my budget into ad spend, and it could just eat it up. I think don't underestimate organic growth and building your story and building your brand, um, and then start testing. So I would just test. I would test everything first, see what works, and then add fuel to the fire to what's working. But I would not just be like, I have to spend this amount of money. I would test things first. So.
Okay, we actually had actually two more questions, and we have a little time, so I'll go ahead and ask them. So you said you thought Shopify was better. I've used both and found Squarespace more user-friendly. What is it about Shopify that you find makes it better for online shopping?
I think it's just volume. I think Squarespace, that's why I said Squarespace initially, is because it is more user friendly for someone that doesn't know web development. With Shopify, you can customize it, and if you end up moving a lot more product, I think it's more helpful in terms of just volume of sales. But it is a more complex tool for sure.
And then someone asked, what about ChatGPT for SEO?
I haven't used it, but yes, that's exactly. I would just do everything. I would be like, ChatGPT, pretend I'm a third grader and explain SEO to me and help me, get my website optimized, and it will do it. So I would play around with it. We have people on our team that are kind of SEO specialists. So if it's just those first couple steps, you're going to learn yourself. It's not going to take you very long. Um, but if you need someone that's more full-time doing stuff, um, you could reach out. But yeah, that's a great example. I would just use it for everything.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm glad we got some time for you to answer all of those questions. I am going to pass it along to Nathan of Good Wolf Probiotic Sodas. And he is going to speak about how he turned farmers market shoppers into subscribers and all the great stuff that he is doing. So, Nathan.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Stephanie. So, let me see here. Let's get it set up. Oops. Where's my video? Oops. Sorry, I thought my video was on this whole time. I'm just on my phone here. I can't see everything. Anyways, can everybody see me okay? Hear me okay? Cool. All right. Great. So, my name is Nathan Keane. I'm the owner, president, and flavor creator at Good Wolf Probiotic Sodas. Just give me 1 second here. Cool. All right. So we are based out of Portland, and we're just about 10 minutes south of the Vancouver Farmers Market on Northeast 33rd. We've been a part of the Vancouver market for, I want to say, 3-ish years, something like that. We do a lot of farmers markets now. I'm not personally involved in our markets anymore. But I personally started my first market at Gresham Farmers Market. And so, yeah, but before I go into that, I want to give a little bit of context for my brand. So I'm going to be talking about just the email newsletter and subscription model. A little bit more context about my brand is, so yeah, as I mentioned, we started at one farmers market. That was back in 2020. And that was with a kombucha brand that I owned. 5 years later, we're running 12 farmers markets. I have a market manager and 3 or 4 staff, part-time staff who run the markets. We also are in about 300 retailers around the PNW area. And we do quite a bit of e-commerce sales. Right now, just to give you an idea, including events, so farmers markets and like holiday events, we did about 100,000 in sales last year, and doing about $6,000 to $7,000 a month in e-commerce sales, just to kind of give you an idea of our size and our scale. Just 3 years ago, we were doing zero. Those numbers were zero. I bought Good Wolf 3 years ago. We weren't doing a single farmers market at that time, and we weren't doing any e-commerce. So we've grown quite a bit. And I'm just going to kind of tell you how we did that. So we started doing a few farmers markets in 2022, and we knew, e-commerce is obviously the way of the future. Everybody knows that with Amazon and Walmart. E-commerce is the way, and having a website is so important. We all know that. The question is kind of like, how do you execute it? Is it right? How do you execute it? And I appreciate kind of what Jake was saying, just starting small and simple. And that's what we did. We built a website, and it looked super crappy, and that was okay. It worked. We had a website that people could go to and at least see something. And then eventually we added a few products, and we just had like Trevor, who maybe some of you guys know, he's at the Vancouver market quite a bit. Trevor would literally run around delivering packages. We found out that it was actually cheaper to just put it in UPS, which is interesting. That's something that seemed a little bit backwards to us. It's actually more efficient environmentally as well to stick things on a UPS truck than have somebody, one of our team just drive all the way around, wasting all this gas and time. Let's see. I got to stick to my notes here. So before that, I think I skipped a step. So, I guess getting people to our website, right? How do you get people to your website? We actually made an email sign up sheet, printed it out, put it on our booth table. That's how we got people to sign up for our newsletter, which was just really simple. Just sent it out like once a month. I think I just didn't even send one for 6 months one time, just because life happens. It's fine. Just restart. It's all good. People don't care, and they don't remember. But we got some people, some orders came in. We stuck them in UPS. The next thing that's important would be to look up, write this one down. So pirateship.com is a wholesale shipping company. So you can make a free account, and you go in there, and if you have these orders, you can make the shipping labels on pirateship.com. And it's a lot cheaper than going straight to UPS. It's like, I don't know, maybe half the price. That one's great. They do UPS and USPS, and then you can see them like side by side. It also integrates with Shopify and all the main platforms. Another one that you can look into is ShipStation, which has FedEx, and then Shippo is a good one too. But Shopify, I think, is the only free one. We still use Pirate Ship. Sorry, yeah, Pirate Ship is the free one. We use Shopify, as I mentioned. So then we were like, well, this is great. People are putting in orders. We're shipping them out. We're shipping out a few boxes a week. This is so cool. Well, what if we have a subscription? What if people can just sign up to get them once a month? Especially when the market ends and it's November. What if we kind of get some subscribers, who are hooked on our products at the markets, and then they can sign up so that, on the winter months, they can still get them delivered. Because we haven't done the Vancouver winter market. Obviously, it slows down, and a lot of the farmers markets slow down in the winter. So we did that, and it was really cool. We got a lot of people to sign up. I think I'm moving a little bit too fast. So let me just go back a little bit, backtrack a little bit. So let me just talk about a few tips to get people to sign up for the newsletter. What we did is we bribed them. So people would come and try samples of our drinks. So we've got these probiotic sodas. And even if they bought one or if they didn't buy one, if they seemed interested in the brand and they seemed like they liked it, we would offer them a free can if they signed up for our newsletter and or followed us on Instagram. And, it was costing us maybe like $1 to produce these. And so it was like basically paying $1 for their email address for a hot lead. And so we got quite a few. We would get maybe like 20 emails every market, and it started adding up. Within just maybe 2 years, we had 1,000 email addresses, and we started converting those to sales. So then when we would send out the newsletter, maybe even if 10% of the people ordered something, that's a huge amount. That's 100 orders, which, let's be real, that didn't happen at the beginning. But we would find that, we're sort of paying just like $1 for this email. And on average, I think we sort of did a math calculation, and each email ended up being worth maybe $100 a year or something like that. So it's a great, spending that a little bit on product. If you have a cheap product, it's great. If you have an expensive product, you can't just give that away. Just ask. Just put it there. And if they seem curious, just ask, hey, do you want to give the email? You can do it in a way that's just, non-aggressive. They can say, no, that's fine. So there's a lot of ways you can get emails, but I would just say, try to get creative on it and really try to prioritize that. Because then you're going to have your newsletter, and that's just how you start marketing. So you just start sending emails. A good newsletter campaign organizer that we use omnisend.com, which is a good one. I want to say it's maybe like $10 a month or something. We've used a few different ones. They're all kind of the same. We just found that one's pretty clean. You can track who opens the emails, which links get clicked. You can do some A/B testing, and some cool, you can do some cool things like that. Yeah, and honestly, we just found that it's kind of funny, but when we would send an email, then people would order the products. You put a little discount code, 10%, 20%, orders come in. And that was pretty cool just to see that something so simple as just sending an email to your customers and people just buy stuff. Obviously, you can only do that so much. You can't just send emails every day. Well, you could, but we tried not to send over one per week. Average about twice a month generally. Yeah, and I think the other thing too is you want to try to make it interesting, the emails. People get sick of just hey, buy the product. Hey, here's 20% off. Just they want to see some content. So if you can tell a little bit of the story, I know we're going to do storytelling later, or just giving updates hey, we're going to be at these farmers markets, or hey, we have this new flavor. Try to put something of value in there so that people actually click it. That would be a tip for sure. Or if you maybe have a blog, you could do little blurbs on the blog, put those into the newsletter, link it, link, I don't know, just try to get creative with that. So yeah, that's kind of how we went from, just the farmer's market to having a website to actually selling products to running this newsletter. And I think the next thing that, to mention is just our subscription model. So we actually have a product subscription, like as I mentioned, that you can sign up for once a month or once a week or whatever. We use one. It's through Shopify, so it's an app, but it's called Appstle, Appstle. I don't remember the price off the top of my head. It's pretty cheap. I think it's maybe just like a couple percent or something like that of the total sales, or $10 a month. It's pretty affordable, but it lets you just customize it. This is all pretty simple stuff, right? You could talk to ChatGPT and it could tell you all this stuff. But I think what I'd like to mention too is like just the lessons we learned along the way that maybe ChatGPT wouldn't tell you is when we started the subscription model, like, okay, it's live on the website. Nobody's just going to sign up. You have to tell them to, you have to ask them to, you have to offer something. People don't just magically end up on your website. You have to lead them there, like what Jake was saying with SEO. You have to lead them there with an email newsletter or with an Instagram post or a blog or something. For us, leading people to our website has been mostly through our email newsletter, and bribery, like discount codes. They say that, just being honest, as a little side note, I've heard it said that selling e-commerce is just marketing because you don't really make a profit. We haven't really turned much of a profit on e-commerce, just being frank. From spending the money on the labor, writing the newsletters, to all the Shopify fees, Appstle fees, to discount codes, to UPS fees, to shippers, to figure out how to get them into a box and buying boxes, like it all adds up. And so you don't really make a lot of money. So for us, I would just say that's a good caveat. Like, you got to think about your goals, of where you're trying to head with your company. You're trying to scale, or you're trying to stay small. If you're really trying to scale and get bigger, then as you grow your company, you can get all your costs lower. So I would say e-commerce is great. Definitely look into that. We don't really make a lot of money on e-commerce, but we sell so much that it helps, our production. So as we're scaling and self-manufacturing, we can get all of our costs down. It's also just a nice service to offer, and it adds just legitimacy. So those are just some factors to think about. On the other hand, if you don't really want to scale huge, but you do want to offer online, you just have to price higher and just realize you're not going to sell a ton, but you're going to offer a service to your customers who maybe visited Vancouver from Idaho, and now you can sell a case to them once a month or something. Stephanie, how am I doing on time?
You have 3 minutes.
Perfect. So just little tidbits to keep in mind, something ChatGPT probably wouldn't tell you. Maybe they would. Yeah, I would definitely just run all the numbers. Some other things to think about is just packaging. And you're going to have to invest in some packaging, do some testing. Just get a box, stuff it in there, and just ship it to yourself, or like ship it to a friend or something. That's a great way to just test it out. Is this going to break if I put it in there? How's it going to look? Just shove it in the mail and just try it out. Yeah, and if you send something to the customer and it breaks or something, they'll let you know. So that's your feedback. So realize that. But yeah, I would just say start kind of small and simple. Another, I think, important piece of advice to share is, like, for us, we offered like a free 6-pack of our seasonal holiday flavors to everybody who signed up for the subscription. Kind of circling back to, like, how do you get people to subscribe? We offered like our brand new, holiday seasonal flavors. You can get a free 6-pack if you sign up for the subscription. And that was really effective. We got 60 subscribers within a few months, which was huge. It was like it brought in a ton of revenue immediately. And we got all these people signed up and we just launched. We grew like so much. But over the next 6 months, those subscribers started canceling. And we didn't really know why. And I think what we realized is they got bored. So it's important with a subscription model to offer new products. Really quickly, do you guys hear this background noise or is it okay? You're good, cool. So yeah, I think it's important to realize that people do get bored. Another like just a little bit of hard truth is that like people love you and they love your brand, but like if you sell a cookie, they're eating other cookies. You know, if you sell a probiotic soda, they're drinking kombucha and like other things too. People aren't like really loyal to one thing and they get tired of it and they want different flavors and they're gonna go and they're gonna shop several different brands of the same category. So how do you get them to like mostly shop your brand? It's by offering new flavors. So it's something to keep in mind is keeping people excited every few months. And if it's too much logistically to add a new flavor every 2 months, like I get that, that's tough. Maybe just what can you do? Can you do like a sticker of like a quarterly new sticker or, you know, a handwritten note, like something to engage them to keep them subscribed? Like, oh, what are they going to put in next? Something like that, just to keep in mind that people are kind of fickle, and you got to keep them on the hook. So yeah, I would say that's the gist of it. Yeah,
Well,
the last thing I would say is just if you can outsource this stuff as much as possible. I personally am not running the e-commerce program, subscription model, or farmers market program anymore. I'm really blessed to have a team that I've trained and sort of replaced myself so that I can focus on the big picture strategy. I think that's really key. That's the last, I guess, word of wisdom that I could offer.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Nathan, for sharing. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat.
I see two questions so far. Erica asked, is there a specific app or plugin that you use for subscriptions?
Appstle, APPSTLE is the one we use. It's through Shopify.
Great.
And is that that's specifically for to run the subscription?
Yeah, that's for the product subscriptions. Yeah, it runs it, it manages it. So you can just add products that are in your Shopify page and just like put them into the subscription as well to make it like an option. So it's like a drop down that's like, do you want to buy a 12 pack or do you want to buy like a recurring 12
Oh,
pack? So that's Appstle.
And Zach asked, do you send out all subscription orders at the same cadence, beginning of the month, or do you send them out based on when the subscription was created?
A great question. We started off just doing all the packing up on Mondays. We just put on our website, orders come in, please get your order in by Sunday night, and we're going to ship everything Mondays, just so they know that it might take like a week or whatever to get there. As we've grown, we're now doing Mondays and Thursdays, and we're probably going to start doing Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now pretty soon. So if you're just clear with people like, hey, it could take a week or a week and a half, just do that on the front and just put a little description in your product so people know how long to expect. But yeah, we do everything all at once. Just makes it a lot easier. And then we have UPS. You can schedule UPS to pick up, costs $8. And if you have 40 boxes, they'll just come and pick it all up. So you don't have to drop it off, which is really nice.
it costs $8 no matter how many boxes you have.
Up to 50, I think. Yeah.
Oh.
So it's kind of nice. Save on the gas and the time. Like loading up 50 boxes in your own car and then driving over, then unloading 50 boxes and bringing them all to UPS. It's a lot of work. So having UPS come is huge.
Great. Well, we are going to shift gears. Thank you so much, Jake and Nathan. We are going to shift gears into social media. So I'm really excited to introduce Kayla Anderson, with Riparian, founder of Riparian Media, to talk a little bit about social media strategy.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, hello everyone. Let me just get my slides pulled up here. Um, All right, is everyone able to see this?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So hello everyone. I'm Kayla Anderson, founder of Riparian Media. The farmers market is one of my clients, so you more than likely have seen me like flitting around the market to gather photos and video, or also just stopping by your booth to be like, hello, would you like to do an interview that you have totally not prepared for, but I'm going to make you do it anyway. Um, so first things first, why should you be on social media? One, people can't know, like can't people can't buy from you if they don't know that you exist. So building upon what our rep from RIP was talking about, your website works when you're not working, and your social media also works for you when you're not working. It's where discovery happens before your customers even walk by your booth. If you post something that starts trending locally in Clark County, people be like, oh my gosh, like I saw this thing from Good Wolf, this one adventure reel with a Jeep. And so I wanted to stop by this booth because I really resonated with that Jeep. That was really cool. And from that, your future customers are scrolling, where recent studies have shown that about 71% of small business shoppers discover brands on platforms like Instagram and Facebook. So even though Meta is the bane of my existence, and it will most likely be the bane of your existence as well, if you have ever used Meta Business Suite, people find businesses on Meta platforms, as well as TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. But also, social media builds trust. This is where you get to share things like behind the scenes posts, showing your real face, and storytelling, which I'm so glad this has been a big theme of the conversations today, is storytelling, 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 because it shows that you are more than just a tent on a street. And on that, people want to hear stories. Stories make your business memorable. They help people feel something like trust, joy, resonance. And that's also why we're starting a documentary style video series this summer with the farmers market. So, going to be really excited to start putting that together. And when people know who you are, what you do, why you do it, it has people connect to be like, oh yeah, I know Heather at Melba's Vegan Bakery. I now know that she started Melba's Vegan Bakery and named it after her two grandmothers that were named Melba. That's really cool. And I didn't know that until I actually went and interviewed her 2 weekends ago for a social media post for the farmers market. And now I'm like, wow, that is a story. And I associate that with her company and with her. So it's not just enough to say, hey, come buy my thing. People buy from businesses they feel connected to, whether it's they love the aesthetic. And this is going to sound really silly, like a personal tangent. I just started buying a new brand of sleep mouth tape because I fell in love with their branding. It is so ridiculous. Their mascot is a lamb with wings named Persephone, and the tape is red. It's called Sleep or Die. And I just started seeing it on my LinkedIn because people were talking about the branding. And I was like, okay, are you serious? Like, I'm going to give it a shot. And I'm totally into it because I learned about the founder story, how it's just one woman in Canada putting this thing together. She got tired of all the lavenders and purples, and oh my gosh, you're going to sleep so well. She's just going to like hardcore branding of, yeah, if you don't get good sleep, you're just going to die. And I'm like, I love this. And so I bought her product and signed up for a subscription. And so with that, like thinking of your feed as a handshake, not a megaphone. So we can yell into the void forever and be like, hello, I have a thing. Please buy it. Here's the thing. But if you're just like walking down the street and you turn to someone, you're like, hi, I have this thing, buy it. That person's probably going to look at you like, why? I don't even know who you are. Why are you telling me to buy your thing? That might work if you're in a baseball stadium selling hot dogs, but that doesn't work out in like normal, like not sports arena. But if you do end up selling in a sports arena, I would love to hear your case study on that because that would be great market analysis. So things like behind the scenes, process shots, origin stories, all these are 100 out of 100. Just having people know who you are and getting a little bit more connected to you and why your business just matters. Because we create businesses, one, to make money, of course. Some of us have problems with authority and therefore become our own boss. And others have a great passion project and are like, I can monetize this and I want to share my things with the world. And that's a part, like things that your customers need to know, because that's how they will find you and stay with you. So, for example, some of the reels that we've been doing for the farmers market, vendor interviews, they perform really well across the board. Like we just did one with Denise or Denise, making sure I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it super correctly, but she makes an amazing naja stew sauce, and I got to try it, and it's West African staple. She was telling me about the process, how it takes 2 hours. It's shelf stable, so you can have it and use it for all your things. And I was like, this is incredible. And from the shares and likes and comments, other folk were like, this is incredible. Or with Native Candy, they were sharing about how they're part of the Yakama Nation, and her kiddos actually were speaking in their native tongue on this video, and I thought that was incredibly wholesome. And they're sharing like why they sell salmon, and it's connected to their heritage and their traditions. And then Sea to Spoons, we got the history of why his company is named Sea to Spoons. It's because he takes driftwood from like the seas and the lakes and turns them into beautiful wooden pieces. And you never really would have thought of that if you just walked by. But since these are conversations that were being had and also published on social media, more people are learning about these things. And as the social media manager for the farmers market, just a little PSA is when we're posting Instagram stories, because I reshare all of y'all stories on the weekends when you're like, hi, I'm at the market, I'm doing this thing. If you have the bandwidth to do so, a photo of you at your booth or of your products at your booth, or even a little bit of like vendor collaboration goes a long way. Instead of just sharing like, hi, I'm here, it could be like, we're here and we have this thing. So having it be a little bit more in depth, I've noticed that analytics wise, stories that have a bit more information or that have a bit more of that storytelling, and it doesn't have to be deep. We don't have to write a Shakespearean novel or tragedy. It's just a something that's a bit more human, tends to have better engagement, even for Instagram stories that I'm sharing for you guys. All right, so getting into a bit more of the technical things, organic versus paid social media. There is a difference, and this is a question I get a lot. So I figured this would be worth covering in here. So organic social media is your unpaid, authentic content. So this is what you're posting on your own feed or your story. This is what builds your trust, community, and brand identity. And it's free, but it does take consistency and time. So this is like, for example, if I wanted to create a little reel about, oh, I'm doing this presentation, I probably would film me working on the slides. And then I film like, oh, look, I'm moving this cute little graphic. I could set my camera up in the back here, show the back of my head of me even giving this presentation, edit that together, publish it. That's an organic reel. It's something that you put the time together to post without throwing money behind it. And then paid is where you're getting to boosted posts or advertisements, and there is a distinction between the two. A boosted post is, so if I took that reel about me creating this presentation and then I post it to Instagram, there's this little button that says, do you want to boost it? And I'll be like, yes, please. Here's $5 a day for a week to help get this organic post out into the ether and hopefully get more eyeballs on it. Whereas an advertisement is a post crafted specifically with a goal, audience targeting, all these nitty-gritty details in mind. It is not organically on your feed. Instead, you go and you boot that up into an ads manager like Google Ads or Meta Business Suite's ads manager. And the benefits of boosted post or advertisements is you pay to reach more people pretty quickly. It's great for promoting things like events, products, or time-sensitive offers. And it also can be very effective when paired with good organic content. So if you have an organic post that's already performing well, I would say it is worth it to throw a couple dollars behind it to get it in front of more people because you already know it worked. So since you already knew it worked, it's a lower risk to get it, to throw a bit of money behind it to get more eyes on it. I do not recommend boosting posts that did not perform well organically because then you're just going to be burning your money. And both of these strategies matter, but it really does start with your organic content because paid ads cannot fix a weak feed, and people click because of the ad, but they stay because of your vibe. So, to TLDR, the Reddit slang for too long didn't read for that. Start by showing up, and then when you're ready to invest, paid social can help you grow even faster. So some starter tools that I recommend for all folk. Canva, because you can create graphics that look polished. But if you do have a graphic design background, have fun with all of your Adobe Creative Cloud products. And I admired your patience and tenacity to stay up with all those updates. And you can use templates for post, story, signs, menus, and more. And what's great is it's drag and drop and done for a lot of the templates. And for example, my slides are a Canva template. And just to use that as an example, if you can put something together that looks nice with this tool. Other things, Meta Business Suite, the bane of everyone's existence, but it is free, so this is why we like it. You can schedule Facebook and Instagram posts ahead of time. You can also reply to DMs and comments directly in there. And you don't have to worry about posting on the fly from your phone at the booth because you can schedule things in advance. Now, Meta Business Suite does not cover LinkedIn or TikTok. So if you wanted to start getting into scheduling for that, I personally recommend the tool Metricool. And I can drop that in the chat. That was something I just now thought of. So that's why it's not in the slides. And then for editing content, CapCut is amazing. You can edit short videos for Reels or TikTok easily, adding music, captions, transitions, and you can make a cute reel from a market day with just your phone. And as of today, Meta released Edits, their CapCut competitor. I actually put together a couple reels for the market today using this as an experiment. It's about 65% of the way there. I think there are a lot of features that are missing that CapCut has. So I still would recommend CapCut over this tool, but I would also say just for longevity, because CapCut is part of the potential TikTok sell ban thing, because it is owned by ByteDance, it may be worth it if you have the time to explore tools to test both of them and see which one you like. But if you do not have the bandwidth to do that, just stick with CapCut, and then when you eventually have the bandwidth, explore edits, in my personal opinion. All right. And then the big digital elephant in the room, AI. And my stance is AI can help, but you still matter at the end of the day. Tools like ChatGPT are amazing for generating post ideas, drafting rough captions, and beating like the blank page. And I personally use AI in my day to day, and it has helped me get over writer's blocks. It was what I primarily use it for. Because before AI started being a thing, if I hit a writer's block, I'd be like, well, I have to forgo the rest of my day, go on a hike, and try to get my brain going, and hope to God I get some ideas before the end of the workday. And now if I'm like, well, hey, like ChatGPT, I'm trying to put together this thing. I'm thinking of a way to connect like Waterloo, sparkling water, and like hiking or something, but I don't really know. And then just from like brain vomiting into this tool, it can be like, well, have you thought of these directions? So I personally like using it as a way to bounce ideas. Um, Now, as a small business owner, if you are scrambling, you're trying to figure out what things to write, I would recommend using ChatGPT to write your captions with the caveat of understanding AI can get you 80% of the way there. That last 20% is your voice, your vibe, and your story. And if you do not proofread and personalize or make it you, it's going to be AI slop. And I'm sure, if at least I've noticed since I'm like on top of the AI stuff, I read all the articles every day. At this point, when I'm scrolling LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook, immediately I can tell by the cadence of a post of like, oh, this is AI slop, and I just scroll past it. It's kind of similar with a similar feeling of scrolling TikTok, for example, and seeing a sponsored post, and it's like I don't even want to look at it because it's sponsored. So if you want to avoid like AI slop fatigue for yourself, or also people looking at your brand, because people follow you, not a robot. And so even the best AI won't know what your booth felt like on a rainy market morning. Or how, oh my gosh, I was next to Tammy's cookies and the cookies smelled phenomenal in the sun. Like that's the type of personalization that AI just can never get. Um, So use it to get you 80% of the way there, but please personalize it and proofread because it will harm your brand in the long run if people just start associating you with AI slop. So, and then we're almost to the end. So when should you hand off your socials? This is a question I got a while ago, and I figure it's worth mentioning that you should always be showing up online from day one. Even if it's just one post a week, it really helps build recognition, trust, and momentum. But when you have the budget, hand it off so you can focus on what you do best, whether it's making, baking, growing, or creating, because offloading frees up your time. So you don't have to worry about late night caption writing or stressing about the algorithm. And I firmly believe that anyone can master social media. It is one of the it takes a lot of time, and that's the biggest barrier to entry. Like, I fully believe all of you are capable to create beautiful reels and take amazing market photography and craft like the most compelling captions that would make Shakespeare cry or like really love everything that you're doing. Um, but it takes a lot of time. And this is why Riparian, I just specialize in social media. I don't do websites. I don't do like advertise email newsletter services or anything like that because of how time consuming it is to stay up on trends, understand what's happening, what different tools are coming out because it moves so fast. And if you don't care about it as much and you need to grow your business, that's where offloading helps. Um, and with that, so offloading helps you grow because a strategy-driven presence can attract new customers and make current ones come back for more. And then my shameless plug, if you want more help with this, I will be launching or hosting a DIY social media bootcamp on May 14th at the Slocum House from 1 to 4 p.m. And this will help you turn the panic of, oh God, I need to post something today into an actual strategy. We're going to go through a workbook. It's hands-on. I'm not going to be talking at you for an hour. Instead, it's maybe like 15 minutes of like, here's some high-level strategy, and then we're getting hands-on, one-on-one personalization. And if you are a farmers market business, the VFM Foundation will can reimburse your ticket. So that's something to maybe consider if you have the time on a Wednesday from 1 to 4, and there will be snacks and there will be drinks because I love little treats, and I imagine you do too. So thank you so much. Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Was my humor too dry?
Thank you, Kayla. I think we have a couple questions in the chat.
Let's see.
A lot of people wondering about mouth tape, so. All
right, actually, I mean, if you guys don't mind me stepping away for like 2 seconds, I can go grab the bag and show you because it's really cool.
Sure, yeah, go do that.
Wait, one
I think
second.
people are curious. And I'll just reiterate, we'll talk announcements at the end about just some opportunities, including some continuing education, scholarship funds available from the VFM Foundation. And if you are interested in Kayla's workshop, that is something you could apply for reimbursement, and we'll give you that information on how to do that at the end.
I just put the link to the workshop in the chat as well.
Thank you. All right, so this is sleep tape. I've learned that I am a sleep tape girly because like if you sleep, I would sometimes wake up with like my mouth being dry in the morning and I'm like, what is up with this? So upon like sleep research, sleep tape is apparently a thing. And I used like the generic Amazon one before, but I didn't really like the way it like smelled on my like had a chemical smell and everything. So, and it was like black and boring. So this one, I should just get an affiliate code for these guys now because I freaking love it. So it's this red tape and it has a hole. So if you need water in the middle of the night, you can still drink some water with a straw or whatever. It doesn't smell like freaking cheap chemicals, and their mascot is this little lamb with wings called Persephone. And her whole thing is like, you better get good sleep or you're gonna die. And I'm like, this is so quirky and it's so stupid, but I'm a sucker for good marketing. So,
They really promoted their business online to you, Kayla.
they did. It flooded my LinkedIn because a lot of brand analysis people were like, whoa, this is so new. This is a great launch. And I'm like, you're so right. This is a great launch. I got it.
All right, so Tamala has a question. My page was hacked and I had to start over. I lost a
Oh
lot of
no.
content. Oh, I'm sorry. What do you suggest for basically starting over from scratch?
Well, my first question is because I've actually have fixed hacked accounts before. I did that with Melt Glass Art Supply when I started my agreement with them, and we were able to get her account back. Um, so my first question is, do you know if it's absolutely gone? Or maybe that's something that we could workshop a little bit. But under the assumption if it's absolutely gone, I would recommend just starting with the storytelling aspect of it. Take the lessons that you learned from your previous account. If there were things that already worked well or did not work well, lean into the things that worked well. Um, in your bio, I would probably put information in there of like, hey, we lost our account access a while ago. This is our new place. I would honestly maybe even throw a little bit of money behind to boost those posts so that can get out there. So it's more informational, but it can help get it out there so people can find you. That would be my like quick and dirty. Let's have people know that this is where they can find you again. And then if you have a website or email newsletter, posting that information on there as well of like, hello, this got hacked, it's gone, and this is where you can find us. And then on that, I know I'm skipping down to the bottom, but I noticed that Jacob was talking about security consciousness with social media. And since this is like kind of would follow up on this, I recommend using Password Manager. OnePass is my favorite, and all of the tech people I know and cybersecurity people I know recommend 1Password. It's great because all you have to do is remember your master password. That's why it's called 1Password. And then it stores everything, and they even do passkeys. Um, and with that, it's just kind of following best password practices. And also if you want to get into like more the nitty-gritty details of it, if you're concerned about like location, like people doxing you, finding out where you live. Because my background, I started as a Twitch live streamer, so I know the world of being an influencer. And with that, the best practices are don't film, the inside of your house. Like pick a corner that's kind of generic. Don't and if you're filming day in the life videos, you probably want to make sure that you don't say things like, I go to this cafe every single day. But that's if we are kind of doing that more like you want to be really aware of just kind of moderating what you're sharing online. Like keep your privacy, be public, but private, if that makes sense. Um,
I think we have time for one more question. Kelsey, did you want to pick one?
Yeah, so I'll combine two. What do you think the best social media platform for small businesses, like the ones at the market, is? And
Mhm.
do you have any tips for showing up on those platforms like professionally and snazzy, as Erica puts it?
Um, so best platforms for small product businesses. I currently still recommend Instagram and Facebook, begrudgingly. I think TikTok is still a great place, but just with how the algorithm changed, once they, did the ban and then brought it back like 24 hours later, like everyone's feed changed, the algorithm changed. It's kind of weird now. And so I know a lot of folk in the social media space have started to be like, let's probably not invest in here if you weren't already on it. But if you're currently or have been on TikTok, keep making content there. But I would also recommend putting that content you're making there on Instagram. Instagram and Meta, so like the Meta, or sorry, Instagram and Facebook are still the fastest growing social media platforms for e-commerce. Um, like the monthly active users or like I forget if it was daily, is like 500 million people or something like that, last I checked. So the reach there's a lot more opportunity in my professional opinion. As far as making your online content look more professional or snazzy, um, if you have nice equipment and you know how to use the nice equipment, use the nice equipment. If you only have phones, though, there are ways to, if we're talking technical, which is I'm assuming what this question is a bit more technical. Um, Making sure that you film with the back camera, not the selfie camera, because your back camera on your phone has the better lenses and everything. If you edit with tools like CapCut, you're able to go and add like little animations and captions. You can even edit your video quality with some filters or light white balance adjustments. So the type of things that before you would have to use Adobe Premiere Pro to do, you can now access all of that in your tiny little pocket brick, which is great. And also, I would recommend if you can, if you have the time, sitting down and planning out your videos. So if you're getting into like the storytelling, writing just even if it's a couple bullet points of like this is like the points I want to hit. My hook. So if I actually was thinking of filming something today, for myself, where it'd be like there's this trend on Instagram that's kind of like this narrator thing where you use the caption like AI voice to narrate your day, and it's really funny, and I love this trend. But looking through at other people's editing styles and being like, I really like that one, and kind of like going and experimenting. I hope that answers the question. That's kind of like there's a lot of different routes we could go to answer that one for professional or snazzy. So I hope I touched on what you were inquiring there.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple more questions, but I'm just gonna say that Kayla's email's up there. I think she's volunteered to answer some more questions. Also, feel free to flag her down when you see her running around the market. And yeah, check out her upcoming opportunity. And thank you so much, Kayla. And
Of course.
we are going to move on to our last speaker, which is Tammy with Tammy's Cookie Company. And I told her I wanted to introduce her by playing a couple reels because I just love them. So you got to unmute that one, Kelsey, at the bottom there, and then maybe reload it. Oh, it's muted.
I got that shot. The world's just waiting for you to shine. Release the strength you hold inside. Every star tells a story
And
of
then if you want to play that other one, I love it because it's market related too. Well, first of all, I told our team today I couldn't stop thinking about Tammy's cookies. I think about them like once a week because they're so good. But for those of you who don't know, Tammy is like an Instagram star, and has what is it, 132,000 followers
On
um,
Instagram, yeah,
yeah,
plus
on
on
Instagram.
plus
Yes.
Facebook, yeah.
So I'm gonna pass it along to Tammy to talk about how to share your story on social media.
And it was a great introduction by Kayla because she said anybody can do it. I started 2 years ago at 55. I didn't know what an algorithm was. I didn't know, I hadn't worked outside of the home in 25 years. I didn't know what trending music was. I didn't know anything. I didn't know it took me 4 months to figure out how to get the words on the screen, how they disappear and move. 4 months of Googling and watching all sorts of informational YouTube reels on how to do that. I started off like most people going, here's my cookies. Aren't they great? Come buy my cookies. And nothing happened. And so I decided I'm going to start. I used to be a teacher, so I'm going to start sort of giving people some baking tips on how I do things and bring them behind the scenes. And I messed up one day and I burnt my toffee and I filmed the whole thing thinking I'm going to teach somebody how to bake toffee. and it burnt, and it was a disaster. I ended up throwing it in the garbage. And so my husband said, just make a reel about that. And the reel went viral. So it's basically, I just keep learning and learning and learning. What I've learned from that is that people don't want perfection all the time. They want real. They want to connect with you. They want to see if you make mistakes. They want behind the scenes. How do you make something? So I learned very quickly that my market was actually teaching other bakers how to bake. And that was very interesting for me. It was very shocking for me to learn that a lot of other bakers have only, like bakeries, use mixes and pre-bought fillings. I didn't know that everybody didn't make from scratch like I did. And I sort of do over the top artisanal from scratch things. I make everything. So that was a big learning experience for me. So what I decided to do is my target audience. Okay, what would I like to listen to? Who would I like to follow? And how can I reach them? So I just decided I'm 55. A lot of people are, my age, and they are looking for a second chance. Your kids have grown up. Your whole life has been about looking after other people. So I have a lot of older women or men that follow me saying it is so nice to know that I can do this too. And I tell everybody, if I can do it, you can do it, because I have had to learn so much along the way and grow as a person. And the key for me was I discovered somebody on Instagram called The Lee Buckingham. She's an English lady, and Lee is spelled Leah, The Lee Buckingham. And what she does is, when I followed her, is that she teaches like common sense, how to engage people. She's not saying, follow this trend. If you do this hack, you will gain all these, followers. None of that works. There's no big hack that will guarantee your reel to go viral. And even if you make a really great reel, it still might not go viral. It might fail. And some reels that you think, they'll go viral sometimes. So, but the key is for me is I decided to make my page just about my business and focus on that. I don't put anything personal on my main page. I don't have fancy equipment. I have one studio light, and up until recently, when I broke my phone, I was using an old camera, like my old, not my old camera, my old cell phone. I think it was a 10. And so now I have a new one. So I was just trying to bend low and get sort of different shots, different angles, get movements to bring people in. I filmed from my kitchen. I do film from within my house because I'm a home baker. And I try to, portray what it's really like to be a home baker. It's not fairy dust. It's hard work. It's really hard work. And there are great days and there are bad days. And it's about a passion to put something out there that's part of you. It's not about how much money you're going to make. You're never going to make a lot of money being a home baker selling at markets, but you can make a decent living. But what I do is I always comment. I get back to everybody. I know that's time consuming, but I return or try to comment. If somebody said, wow, that looks amazing, I always at least put a heart or thank you. It's important to acknowledge that somebody has stopped on my page and acknowledged me, acknowledged what I've done. I've always tried to make sure that I acknowledge and thank them for commenting on my page. If somebody messages me, unless they're, scammers, I can see them a mile away, I always respond to them. It's time consuming, but it has allowed me to build from 0 to 130,000 in 2 years, and actually less than that, because my first 6 months were just trying to figure out how to use Instagram, which was a struggle for me. So, because I am not a technical person. And And what I also do is, because I'm baking full time, especially in the summertime, is I batch reels. What I do is I film a lot in one day. I write down my ideas and I start filming them all in one day. And I make sure, like, of course, the best ideas always come when I'm driving or in the shower, and I try to make sure I write them down. Another way to get ideas for reels is by any questions that you get from anybody. That's really important. That's a great way to figure out how to create reels, as well as what's your audience, what are they looking for? And I just try to be as authentic as I possibly can. I don't show myself glamorous. I don't use fancy techniques. I just show myself my hair up, in my hair thing, covered in cocoa. I don't use filters. I don't try to make myself look younger. I'm 57 years old. That's just the way it is. And I try to be as encouraging as possible. Now, I will warn you, Facebook is not for the faint of heart. You can get dogpiled on and it can be pretty ferocious, but I really try to keep things positive. If somebody attacks me on a Facebook, I don't engage. What I do is I either delete, or I just move on, or I block them. I don't get into fights. Another thing I do is for my stories, or sort of more my personal, people want to know you. They sort of feel invested in you, and they cheer you on. It's really quite lovely when people feel that connection with you. They feel like they get to know you. And so in my stories is where I put more stuff like time with my grandson. I put, what am I doing in the garden, or, just a little tip that wasn't filmed that well, or what I'm working on that day. I just filmed, like, my shirt was inside out. It took me 4 hours to notice. I walked around with my shirt inside out for 4 hours. Just some things that, I put my baking tips down a garbage disposal today and they all bent. I show that going, yep, off to a great start. It's so people, and then I get like tons of messages back, people saying, oh my gosh, I do that too. Oh my gosh, you make me feel so much better, because here you are, a professional baker, and you do that too. You always seem to have it together, and you do that too. So it's a way for people to relate to me. And another thing I do, and I consciously do, is when I go out to places or I shop someplace, it's a small business. If I love that business, I always promote them in my stories as well. It's a way to create a connection with another business. It also can help you and help them. They have an opportunity to put you in their stories. If not, you've just supported a great business that you love. And that's fantastic. If you want somebody to support you, you support them back. That's been my motto, and it's a great way to connect with other businesses. For me, I've made a lot of connections within the community by posting, and I do pop-ups, and people say, well, how did you get that to happen? How did you get invited? It's, how did you get on TV? How did you do this? It's just like, because I connected with people in the community, and it became a part of a community. Even if I feel like if I do event, it's not just about the money. Sometimes it's about making a presence and supporting another company, another business as well. So by helping other people, you help yourself as well. So that's really important as well. Yes, network is everything, but I do it in a genuine way. I never, if I don't love somebody, I don't do it. I love another business. I do it because I love it. And that's where I shop as well, or that's where I eat. And that's really important for me as well, to be authentic. I just don't feel good if I support something I don't love. So that's important as well. Also, I actually have never boosted a post. I've never paid for anything. I've never paid for an Instagram lesson. I just research and do it all myself. So I've grown, I guess, organically is the term. And And it's actually interesting. I'm at the little Thursday market, and I actually have people drive all the way from Seattle to buy cookies. I had a lady who flew from California to come in and buy my cookies and take pictures with me. It's very interesting. I put out posts of myself and reels of myself working and try to be funny and engaging and show my personality. And that, because that's what people want. They don't want a robot. They don't want perfection. They want you and what makes you special. And so people, when they meet me, if they follow me on Instagram, it's pretty funny. It feels a little bit like the celebrity treatment, and which is really funny because, I'm a homemaker, for all these years that nobody even asked what I did. All of a sudden, I start making reels about myself on Instagram and what I do. And next thing you know, people start to feel like they know you, like they're part of your life, that they can relate to. So those are some things. I wrote down some ideas. Oh, and I never put anything negative anywhere out on the internet on other people's posts ever. If somebody sees it, it just looks bad on you. I also understand that reels are what get you followers, or reels, usually the ones that are about 6 seconds long. The other reels that are longer or more, and the posts are more to engage the people who follow you and bring them closer to you and educate them. Give them what they want. They want to be entertained. They want to laugh. They want to have a little cry once in a while. They want to be understood. They want to see a little bit of themselves in you, and they want to be inspired. And so those are things I really seek to do on a daily basis. I show up every day on Instagram. When I first started, I posted twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening. Typically now I post 6 times a week. Sometimes I do 2 posts. I'll do a static post. And I always try to engage in my post. I do a call to action. Help me name my new cookie. This is my new cookie. I describe it. Think of a fun name for me. And it gets a ton of response. People love to engage. I ask them, here are my tips. Who can also help me, teach other people by giving your best tips as well for markets to how do you survive the heat? So engaging is always important as well. Well, for me, it has been, and it has really been nice to make actually real connections with other people on Instagram as well. It's been wonderful to make friends that you just through commenting, and all of a sudden you got this beautiful baking community or whatever community you're in that support each other instead of tearing each other down. We're not each other's competition. We're each other's emotional support person, which is really important to do on because Instagram and social media isn't always the emotionally safe place to be. And you have to really sort of allow yourself to be vulnerable and put yourself out there and be really real and connect. Look at your audience and who are you speaking to? You're not selling your product, you're selling yourself. So, did I talk too much?
No, that was perfect. And I would just encourage all of you, if you don't already follow Tammy, just check out her page. It is so just your authenticity is so amazing. And just like everything you do, I love on there. And I think everyone can get some really good ideas.
And I just want to say, for posting within the community, when I went to the chef supply store, I posted I was there and what I was buying, and they contacted me and had me do a commercial for them. I've done 2 commercials for them.
Crazy. Okay, I'm just gonna one question and then we will wrap up. Can you clarify, Tammy, for everyone, what is it that you do sell online?
Oh, okay. I sell basically my where I'm going to be to local people, but most of my people are actually international. So what I do sell is people started asking me for my recipes. So what I do is I sell a few recipes, but I mostly sell cooking lessons with a recipe. So I sell tutorials step by step on how to make a cookie, and then and how to turn that cookie into different varieties of cookies from that one recipe, and how you can expand and use your creativity to create new recipes and from that. And I just put out a baking class, which is 4 hours of video as well. So I do sell that online, and I try not to be too salesy, but I feel like I offer a great deal for people who, again, are wanting to learn how to bake, or they're selling baked goods at their own market and they need to improve their skills or have a signature cookie.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you to all of our presenters. Just so appreciate you taking the time to share all of your knowledge. I just have a couple of announcements in our 1 minute left together. If Kelsey, you want to pull back up those slides. Awesome, thank you. We have our upcoming small business social hour. This will be our in-person gathering, our first one of the year. It's going to be Saturday, May 24th after the market, 3:45 to 5:15 at the historic Slocum House, and free snacks and drinks and AC, if it's hot, will be provided. And then our next small business workshop, so that's on Zoom, is going to be June 25th, 6 to 7:30 back here on Zoom. And then I just wanted to let everyone know the continuing education scholarships through the Vancouver Farmers Market Foundation are still accepting applications. We can provide up to $1,000 per year for conferences, classes, skills workshops, things like that. And just email info@vancouverfarmersmarketfoundation.org to request the application. So it's a short application. And then next slide. And then just some quick other no-cost resources as a reminder. So through our partnership with Business Impact Northwest, we have a free market ready program. And that is a month-long course for market businesses focused on practical insights and financial management. The fall course is coming up August 2025, and you get a $500 award for completing the course. And then our one-on-one business coaching with Business Impact Northwest. So through this partnership, all of our businesses can get free on-demand coaching for things like business planning, loan readiness, growth, cash flow, profitability, really anything. And if you are a VFM business and you complete at least 3 one-on-one sessions in 2025, you will receive a $300 rent credit. So pretty exciting. And then you can use this link to sign up. If Kelsey, you don't mind putting that in the chat. And then just our last no-cost resource, the Greater Vancouver Chamber, another one of our partners, they have their business pod program. They have educational workshops, consultations, individual coaching sessions, and even cohort coaching sessions as well. And yeah, so those are everything, all the resources we have going on for you. And yeah, I think that's it. So we're excited to see you in person next month. And then the month after that, we'll see you back here on Zoom. And thank you all for taking the time tonight. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stephanie.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you all.